Hey, Cowboy Nation, this is Cowboys abroad. Let's get into some football. Let's get into some football talk. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Way too early to tell before camp, before we've seen these players put pads on roster projection. Who we think might be good, who we think might make the roster. Uh, just don't based on what we've seen, what we've heard in the history of these players, and reputation, and so on and so forth. Um, it's really, you know, this is the way too early to tell. We don't really know much about these players. Haven't really seen these players play since last season. Some of these players we haven't seen since preseason of last year, as in the case of our backup QBs, uh, Mike White and Cooper Rush. We don't really know what they're gonna look like. We don't really know what they're gonna look like. And we have a new QB coach. We have a new QB coach in house. So these guys, man, could be totally different. Will Cooper Rush look like the terrible QB that he looked like last year in preseason? Will he revert back to the first year we saw him, where we all fell in love with Cooper Rush? And some of us even thought he might eclipse Dak at some point in time with his skill sets. He was throwing the ball pretty well in his first season. Then he regressed last year. We don't really know what he's got to bring to us this year. We picked up last year. We picked up Mike White, fifth round draft pick, um, and the kid, from what we know, he has a strong arm. Has a strong arm, managed to have success, man, even though he played at a lousy university and a lousy team, still managed to have success. Um, Credit to his leadership and his ability to QB. But at the end of the day, we don't really know what we're gonna have there. So the first decision we got to make is what we're gonna do with the QB situation. We're gonna take one, two, three QBs. The way I look at it is this year, there's no reason to have two bad QBs on your backup roster. One is good enough. So it's just a matter of who we're gonna bet on. Cooper Rush, Mike White, and then, as you can tell, my particular roster, I seem to bet on Mike. I seem to have bet on Cooper Rush, Mike White. I don't have quite making this team. So uh, I'm gonna go Dak Prescott for the QB position. I'm gonna go with Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush. I just don't know if Mike White got enough to make that push, make that run to eclipse Cooper Rush. Particularly under a different QB, Cooper Rush may be a lot better than what he was, what we saw of him last year. Moving on. We're a run first team. We're a run heavy team, and because of that, we need our bees in our roster. Um, Tony, we all know Zeke is going to make this roster. No question about that. Tony Pollard shows a lot of promise. We believe he's going to make the roster. When it comes down to it, is what I don't know is for that third RB spot, I don't know if that's going to be Darius Jackson or Mike Weber. As it stands right now, I got Darius Jackson. I got Darius Jackson over Mike Weber. Why? Because he's been in our system for 3 or 4 years. He has a head start. He knows what our expectations are. He knows what our system is, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to run. He knows the work ethic that's required. The work ethic that's required of this team, and what the expectations are inside the star. Whereas Mike Weber is coming off from ground zero. Now I do have Mike Weber penciled in, as making the team at the moment. But then he makes the team only if we go long. Only if we go long in the RB position. So we would have to carry five backs because Olawale, I believe, as a fullback, makes his team. So in order for Mike Weber to make the team, we would have to carry five backs. Otherwise, I don't think he does. I think he becomes more of a practice squad commander. Not sure he equips Darius Jackson. although I am mindful of the fact that we went out and picked up Tony Pollard and Mike Weber because we wasn't necessarily happy with our backfield. And Darius Jackson was within our backfield last year, and so we wasn't necessarily happy with his production last year. But given an opportunity and given an opportunity with a new OC, and considering he's competing against two rookies, you know, I'm gonna give the edge right now to Darius Jackson. It's his job to lose. So that's how I feel about that. Moving on to wide receivers. Last year we carried six, and I don't really think there's any reason to believe that we won't carry six this year. I got Michael Gallup, Alan Hearns, Cobb, Cobb, Amari Cooper, and Tavon Austin as my receivers, along with the new kid, the kid that was in our system last year, got hurt, Cedric Wilson. I think um, he's familiar with the offensive scheme that we try to run. He probably makes it. He probably makes this team has an edge over the likes of an edge over the likes of John Vera Johnson, Lance Norwood, and Reggie Davis. Where I'm still a little on the fence is whether or not he can eclipse Noah Brown. Noah Brown, not necessarily the best players, but he's tough, good downfield blocker, contributes in our special teams department. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not whether or not Cedric Wilson can knock Noah Brown off this program. Injuries could also play a factor, considering Randall Cobb, Tavon Austin, both have injury histories. Alan Hearns just coming off of an ankle break. So injuries should play a role and change the dynamics of this. I know that the new kid, John Vera Johnson, is making a lot of noise right now in the early minute camps and stuff like that. Become kind of a camp hero. But I think at the end of the day, you got to go with the guys that's proven they can get it done. Unless you can clearly, unless you can uh, clearly and eclipse the champion, eclipse the guy behind us in front of you. I think you got to give it to the guys in front of you, the guys that's been there, the guys that played on this level before. But I don't know. John Vera Johnson could make his way on this team. Or we could do some surprise. We could do some type of surprise cut. We just don't know. But at the end of the day, right now, don't have him on the roster. Reggie Davis, guy runs a 4.2. He's a speedster. Can get down the field, can burn. Take the top of the defense. Nice to have assets on the team, but speed does not always equate to excellent receiver. We like to think that it does because you can get behind some people, but you got to have great hands. You got to have good field awareness. You got to be able to. You got to be a great route runner. You got to be able to do all those things to go along with being a receiver. Identify, spot the ball, and get to a spot, be able to adjust on the dime and all that kind of stuff that comes with a receiver. Don't really know if he's got skill sets. Guess we'll find out in training camp. Lance Noah is kind of a sad story, really, because Lance Noah, since he's been on this football team a couple of years, always seems to shine in preseason. Does pretty well for himself. He gets some great passes, has some great hands. But you put him in a special teams element, and he steps on his own feet. Creates his own demise. When the lights come on the big stage, he always manages to screw up and squander an opportunity. I think his opportunity is about over. Don't see him making this football team because of his inability to have some relevance on special teams. And if you're going to be a fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh receiver, you got to have some special teams ability. And every time we put him on the special teams, he screw up. Even when we made him a gunner where you just run down the field and tackle the guy, he tackled the damn guy out of bounds. He just special teams just ain't his flavor. And because of that, he don't make the football team. Moving on, tight ends. Jason, no question, Jason Witten. No question, Jason Witten is on this team. So is Blair. So is Jarwin and Schultz. The only question about this is Rico Gallis. I think that the common popular opinion I think the common popular opinion is to cut Rico Gallis in the Rico Gallis experiment. I would share that experiment. I would share that thought process. However, I think Dallas Cowboys, we take 4 tight ends because we run so much. We like to use a lot of dual tight ends, double tight end sets. I think that we have to protect ourselves by having an extra tight end on our roster, having that fourth guy. So right now I got Rico Gallis in a tight end only because that would round us out and take us out to 4. But if I have my way about it, we cut Rico Gallis, but um, I think the Cowboys hold on to the 4 tight ends. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Tackles, tackles. I got Tyron Smith making his team. Tyron Smith making his team. Also got Leo Collins making his team. Those are the obvious. Those are the obvious guys. No reason to believe they won't make the team. Kevin Fleming. Kevin Fleming is a swing tackle. And then at the guard position, Connor Williams and Zach Martin. Connor Williams and Zach Martin with Connor McGovern being our swing guard there. And Joe Looney is a backup center. And right now, because Connor McGovern is just coming onto this program, just getting his feet wet, so to speak. Don't really know what to make of him. Right now, I got Xavier Silverfield as a backup guard slash center. Just because McGovern at the time is unproven. He's a rookie, his first year. We got to see what he's got. But as it stands right now, I got Silverfield on my roster. But he is a candidate for being cut. I already had to cut his pro today. Redmond already had to let him go from the roster. I also think that the Cowboys are very high on this guy Mitch Hyatt out of Clemson. I think somehow, some way, he sneaks onto this football team just because the coaching staff love him so much. That's how I feel. Moving on. Let's move on to the defense. On the defensive side of the ball, on my D-line, I got Demarcus Lawrence, Taco Charlton, Malik Collins, Tyron Crawford, Antoine Woods, and Tristan Hill, along with Robert Quinn and Darius Armstrong. That takes us out to 8. And that's normally what we run into on a defensive rotation. If I had my way about it, I would cut Silverfield and Rico Gallis, and I would bring in either Daniel Ross, one of these 4 guys here, Kerry Hyder, Joe Jackson, Daniel Ross, Christian Covington. I bring in Jalen Jelks. I bring in 2 of those guys and put them on my D-line and take that out to 10. If I had my way about it, that's what I would do. I'm just not so sure what the Cowboys going to do. And so we had a lot of great defense in my mind. We had a lot of great defensive tackle just in red here, just sitting on the outside of the roster. And I don't really like it. But I got to draw it up the way I kind of see it going. Moving on, linebackers. Of course, our linebackers are, the general Sean Lee and Jalen Smith and Leighton Van Der Esch. And then our 2 incumbents, Jason Marsh Lillard and Joe Thompson, both are, and and Chris Tubberton, I see making the roster. However, there is a couple of guys out there. Cal Quinquillo, I think Cal Quinquerero, and Luke Gifford could make a push for those backup linebacker spots. I think at the end of the day, we go with six linebackers. As it stands right now, we can say three are locks. Most likely, Joe Thomas and Mark Little are also locks. And so you're talking about probably, the rest of those guys, Chris Covington, fighting off the competition, fighting off the rookies, the new guys for his spot. And we'll see how it works. Last year, Chris Covington was hurt a bit himself, didn't really get the finished position. We'll see what he's got this year. Moving on, cornerbacks. No surprise with cornerbacks. I kept the same cornerbacks that we had with Chidobe, Owuze, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Byron Jones. All kept all of those. The only one I added to this roster is the only thing I did to this roster is I cut CJ Goodwin, and replace him with Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson is projected to make his roster, make a lot of splash. He's 6'5", big, tall, big body that Chris Rashad like to work with. I think they found a way for him to make this team, and so the way I did that was I cut C.J. Goodman. So moving on to safety, I don't really think Jeff Heath goes anywhere. I think picked up George Loka. He probably makes the roster. Xavier Woods. Now, and for my four safety, I got Kayvon Frazier on this roster. Now that may be an unpopular opinion because most people think once George Loka came in, that Frazier was out. But Frazier, man, is one hell of a special teams player. Is one of the special teams players and gives you 100% effort the whole all the time. I think he finds a way to stay on the roster as as a backup safety, and a premier special teams guy, because you still need that special teams help. Unfortunately, didn't see room on the roster for a sixth-round draft pick, Donovan Wilson, or Jamel Showers, our mascot. It's been around for 4 or 5 years, just can't make the team, or Darian Thompson, and so those guys just didn't see room for. Although I am interested to see what Donovan Wilson brings to the table and see how well he competed. Kind of like his highlight reels. Seem to be a heavy hitter. Guy that loves contact. I like those kind of safeties. But we'll see what happens. But right now, don't have him on my roster. And moving on. Last three, not really any surprises there. Chris Jones, our punter, puntinator, and Brett Maher, our kicker, and of course LP Lattimore, our long snapper. To round out our 53. And down here in the hold position is also Chris Jones, and then for my kick returns I got Tony Pollard, and for my punt returns I got Tavon Austin. Those could be reversed or interchanged, and they back up each other. But anyway, that is kind of what I'm looking at. But it's hard. This roster is very difficult to do. Very difficult to do because we have some wide receivers with a lot of talent. We have some defensive ends with a lot of talent. And that's what makes it hard. The hard part is deciding who get those defensive line spots and who get those wide receiver spots. The rest of it is not really It's not really that difficult. But in those two positions, we're pretty loaded, pretty solid with talent. And we'll see. It's unfortunate, it's unfortunate. I don't even have his name on here. But Larry Allen Jr. Larry Allen Jr. He's not his father. Not his father. I see him maybe as a practice squad candidate. Don't see him making this roster. Just don't see it. Just don't see it happening. But I've been surprised before, man. I could be surprised again. And if he's a better man in the camp and he's a better man for the job, so be it. I wish him well. And on that note, I'm not gonna say it too long. I've already talked quite a bit, but that is who I have going into training camp on my roster. Now, some of these guys, man, certainly can certainly change my mind. Any of these guys can certainly make the roster. Many of these guys can certainly make the roster. All these guys, if if you part of the 90-man squad, I mean, you got a shot. You got a shot because you never know when injuries going to come into play. You never know when salaries are going to become an issue. Money is going to become an issue. Player versus value is going to be player versus value is going to become an issue, and the Cowboys decide to part with a seasoned player. May decide to part with a seasoned player just to save a little money, to pay Zeke or pay Dak or pay Amari, or you just never know how these things are gonna shake out. Uh, Malik Collins gonna be due for some money here in pretty short order. Uh, we don't know if he's gonna if the Cowboys gonna pay it, if they plan on keeping him around, or if they plan on keeping him around, they decide to go in a different direction. They may go with one of these new guys instead of going with Malik Collins. Another prime candidate for that is La'el Collins. La'el Collins, I think he's a good player. Maybe not an excellent player. Uh, Certainly not a Pro Bowl player, but I think he's a good player. And he's coming to his own to where he's making. I think he's making $10 or $15 million a year. We may decide that McGovern is cheap. It's cheaper to move Connor Williams into the tackle spot and put Governor at guard. We don't know how those things are going to go. And then, of course, if that was the case, then you got another tackle spot that might open up for one of these new guys. So you don't know how these things are going to go. Can never really predict this thing 100%. But I've given a lot of thought and consideration into it, and we see how close it is. We see how close it is when we start doing the after count projection. Anyway, I'm Cowboys Broad. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Leave your comments below what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm out.